Think for a moment about the silence of your mind late at night. In that space, how many times have you replayed a conversation, rehearsed a confrontation, or felt that weight on your chest for something that hasn't even happened yet? We live tied by an invisible chain, the opinion of others. The incessant search for approval, the paralyzing fear of being judged, the exhaustion of trying to be perfect for a world that never seems satisfied. We fight to maintain control of every detail, believing that therein lies security. But what if true strength wasn't in controlling everything, but in letting most of it go? What if the peace we seek was on the other side of the fear of failure? Nearly 500 years ago, a French philosopher retreated to his castle tower to understand himself and found a path. His name was Michel de Montaigne, and his philosophy teaches us exactly that. The Invisible Prison. Chapter 1. The Illusion of Control. Look at your hands as you organize your weekly schedule. Each task with a color, each appointment with an alarm, every hour of the day meticulously planned. We feel a momentary relief, a sense of power. We believe that by drawing the map of the future, we can force the territory to obey. But life doesn't read our calendars. An unexpected phone call, a rainstorm that cancels a flight, a piece of news that changes everything. And then the map becomes useless, and the anxiety we tried to imprison overflows. This relentless pursuit of control is the first wall of our invisible prison. It is a subtle trap because it disguises itself as responsibility and prudence. Our mind becomes a watchtower, trying to predict and neutralize every possible threat. We spend immense energy on scenarios that, most of the time, only exist in our imagination. Montaigne, in his essays, noticed this tragic irony. We suffer far more in our minds from the anticipation of problems than from the problems themselves when they actually occur. The truth is, the universe is indifferent to our plans. Trying to control the uncontrollable doesn't give us power, it makes us fragile. Every attempt to dominate the flow of life leaves us more rigid, more frightened, and less able to dance with uncertainty. The peace we long for is not found in having a perfect plan for every contingency, but in developing the inner strength to face whatever comes, knowing that most things are, and always have been, outside of our control. Freedom begins when we stop fighting the tide and learn to navigate the waters we are given. The addiction to validation. Remember the last time you posted something important, a photo, an idea, a project. Your finger slides to refresh the page. Once, twice, 10 times. Your heart races with each notification and sinks a little in the silence. In this small, modern ritual, we reveal one of our most ancient hungers, the need to be seen, approved, validated. We hand over our self-worth to an invisible jury and anxiously await the verdict. This is the second wall of our prison, the addiction to external validation. We trade our authenticity for applause. We silence our opinions to belong, adjust our personalities to please, and measure our success by the number of likes. Montaigne said that we live more according to the opinion of others than according to our own. We build our house, our identity, on land that does not belong to us. And, like any house built on sand, it crumbles at the first sign of criticism or indifference. The problem with this pursuit is that it is insatiable. Each compliment is a temporary relief, which soon gives way to a new need for approval. We live like actors on an infinite stage, exhausted by the constant performance, afraid that if we stop for a second, the audience will leave and abandon us in the dark. True liberation is not being universally loved, which is impossible, but reaching a point where your own approval is sufficient. It is looking at yourself in the mirror and finding there, in your own conscience, the only judge whose opinion truly matters. The fear of imperfection. Think about the feeling of finding a box of old photos. You see a strange haircut, an outfit that now seems ridiculous, the expression of a version of you that no longer exists. The first instinct is almost always a slight cringe, a desire to hide that evidence of our own evolution. We judge our past with the wisdom of the present, forgetting that each of those imperfect versions was a necessary step to become who we are today. This judgment we cast upon our past is the same one that paralyzes us in the present. It is the third and strongest wall of our prison, the fear of imperfection. It's the voice that whispers, "Don't start, you'll make a mistake. Don't speak, they'll think you're a fool. Don't show your work, it's not good enough." Perfection is fear's most elegant disguise. Under the pretext of seeking excellence, we procrastinate, we hesitate, and ultimately, we give up. We freeze at the starting line, terrified of creating a new, old photo that we will be ashamed of in the future. Michel de Montaigne made his life and work a revolution against this fear. His essays are an act of courage where he strips himself of any pretense of perfection. He writes about his fears, his inconsistencies, his memory lapses, and his vulgar habits. He did not see himself as an ideal to be achieved, but as a human being to be explored with all his flaws and contradictions. He teaches us that trying to hide our imperfections is not just futile, it is inhuman. It is in accepting our fallible nature that we find not shame, but our deepest and most liberating humanity. The art of detachment. Imagine yourself lying on the grass, looking at the sky. The clouds move, transform, and dissolve without any effort or resistance. They do not try to control their shape or their destiny. They simply are, carried by the wind. For a moment, feel the peace that exists in this surrender. This is the closest image to the first tool for our freedom, the art of detachment. It is crucial to understand detachment, in Montaigne's wisdom, is not indifference. It is not to stop loving, dreaming, or caring. It is clarity. It is the wisdom to separate what is within our power from what is not. Within our power are our intentions, our efforts, our reactions, and our integrity. Outside our power are the results, the opinions of others, accidents, and the flow of time. Anxiety is born from the constant attempt to manage what is ungovernable to us. The practice of detachment is an act of profound intelligence and energy conservation. Instead of wasting your mental strength trying to control the storm, you use it to build a solid shelter. When faced with a challenge, the liberating question is not, how can I ensure everything turns out as I want? But rather, what is my part in this? What can I do with excellence here and now? You dedicate yourself to the process, to your effort, and you release the outcome. This is not passivity. It is the purest and most potent focus there is, as it directs all your energy to the only field where you can, in fact, make a difference: your own actions. The courage of imperfection. There is an ancient Japanese art called kintsugi, where broken pottery is repaired with lacquer mixed with powdered gold. The philosophy behind this art is that the object becomes more beautiful and valuable precisely because it was broken. The cracks are not hidden. They are celebrated as part of the piece's history. They are proof of its resilience. Now look at your own life. How many times have you tried to hide your cracks? This is the second tool for liberation: the courage to be imperfect. After learning to let go of control over the future, you must learn to let go of the ideal of a perfect past and a flawless self. We spend our lives trying to project an image of strength and competence, believing our vulnerabilities are weaknesses to be hidden. Montaigne offers us a radically different view. He saw humanity not as something to be overcome, but as something to be inhabited in its entirety. Having the courage of imperfection means treating yourself with the same compassion you would offer a good friend. It's understanding that mistakes are not verdicts on your worth, but teachers in disguise. When faced with a failure, instead of drowning in self-criticism, ask yourself with curiosity, what does this teach me? Where can I grow from here? Your scars, both physical and emotional, are not signs of damage, but maps of your journey, testaments to the battles you have survived. True strength is not in never falling, but in knowing how to get up, with the marks of the fall transformed into gold. Philosophy in relationships. Think of the silent space between two people. It can be the comfort of a shared silence or the tension of unspoken words. It is in this space that our greatest joys and our deepest pains reside. It is the final testing ground for our philosophy. For what good is it to find peace in solitude if we lose it in the company of another? It is here that the tools of detachment and acceptance become vital. Applying detachment to a relationship sounds like a contradiction, but it is the purest form of love. It does not mean loving less. It means loving with more freedom. It is letting go of the need to control the other person, their thoughts, their feelings, their path. It is trading possession for appreciation. Instead of trying to mold the person into the image of what we need, we offer them the rare gift of being exactly who they are. Our job is not to be the sculptor of someone's life, but to be an honest witness and a loyal companion on their journey. At the same time, we bring the courage of imperfection into this space. True intimacy is not born from mutual perfection, but from shared vulnerability. It is having the courage to show our own cracks and the compassion to welcome the cracks of the other without judgment. Relationships based on performance are fragile and exhausting. Relationships based on authenticity are resilient. By abandoning the search for a fairy tale love, we make room for a real love, with its flaws, its challenges, and its imperfect beauty. A practice for life. Feel your own breath for a moment, the air that comes in and the air that goes out. With every exhale, there is a small act of surrender, of letting go. You don't hold on to the air you just used. You release it to make space for the new. The wisdom we seek is not a destination to be reached, but a practice to be lived, as simple and constant as breathing. Montaigne's tools, detachment and the courage of imperfection, are not concepts merely to be understood, but to be embodied. It is the daily practice of asking, is this under my control? It is the continuous exercise of self-compassion when we fail. Peace is not the absence of problems, but the confidence that we have the inner strength to handle them. Freedom is not a world without cages, but the discovery that the door to our prison was always open. We were the ones insisting on guarding it. When you stop caring about the approval of others, you begin to hear your own voice. When you stop caring about controlling everything, you gain the flexibility to dance with whatever life brings. When you stop caring about being perfect, you finally give yourself permission to be real. This is the great turning point. The peace you seek is not out there, in a result or an achievement. It is in here, in the courage to let go. Share in the comments one thing you will choose to let go of starting today. Let's inspire each other to walk with more lightness.